The Adventures of Bili, Lapin, and Mouse. A screenplay by Kessie-Louise. Act 1. Exterior, Cartoon World, Castle Courtyard, Day. It's a beautiful day in the courtyard. A single cartoon rabbit, Lapin, is resting on a bed of flowers. He's at peace, smiling. That peace is about to be broken. Lapin's brother, a cartoon mouse named Mouse, is sneaking up from off-screen with the bullhorn behind his back. Mouse gives the audience a wink before pulling the trigger on the bullhorn. The loud noise immediately jerks Lapin awake. He goes on the defense, puffing up his body to take on his attacker. Lapin stops, noticing that Mouse is laughing at him. He yells at him. He points at Mouse before twisting his body into a screw to indicate that Mouse is screwed before going after his brother full throttle. Mouse jumps before hightailing it. Lapin is close on his tail, almost literally. Interior, Cartoon World, Castle Kitchen, Day. The boys rush to the kitchen, running past the cook who is holding a 7-layer cake. They spin around and around before chasing each other to the next location. The cook, on the other hand, has gotten dizzy. They fall to the ground in a dazed heap, each layer of the cake falling on their head to the tune of shave and a haircut. Interior, Cartoon World, Castle Throne Room, Day. The king and queen, a rabbit and mouse respectfully, sit on their respective thrones as they listen to Gatto and Cato, two cat brothers who have a prominent place in court. Gatto is not much taller than Lapin and Mouse. He is giving his speech with gusto and respect. Cato is thrice the size of his brother in both size and stature. His face is irritable as he holds up a sheet of cards that showcase what Gatto is talking about. The current card shows a bar graph for Kingdom Happiness. The first bar is marked last year with a rather minuscule bar. The second bar is marked this year, and its bar is almost touching the tip of the card. This pleases the king and queen. They nod to each other in agreement. But Gatto isn't done yet. He holds up a finger. But wait, there's more. Before taking the current card and flipping it over his shoulder. Gatto doesn't flinch. The next card is another bar graph on it, along with a graphic of several citizens jumping for joy. The bar on this card's graph reaches above the page. Gatto moves his hand position on the card so he can flip something from underneath the bar graph. It's a sheet of paper that extends the graph. He lets it go and it unfurls like the red carpet to the king and queen's feet. The chart is off the scale. The king leaps from his throne and applauds. Of course he wants the citizens to be as happy as possible. The queen is less unsure, eyeing the end of the graph paper to her husband with a hand over her mouth. Gatto is proud. He prepares to remove the current card but is stopped when Lapin and Mouse come barreling in. The royal brothers run circles around the cat brothers, causing the cards to fly and even tangle Gatto and Cato's tail. The king laughs at his sons. He pokes at his wife, hoping she'll join in, but her face is sour. She stands up. She raises a hand to shout, "Stop!" Lapin and Mouse stop immediately, holding their still running poses for a minute before dropping down into apologetic head bows. Meanwhile, Cato shakes Gatto from his tail. Gatto looks forlorn at his now scattered cards. He sniffs, and Cato gives him a pat on the back despite his unamused face. The two walk away together, and we follow them to Interior, Cartoon World Hallway, Day. The brothers walk along the hallway to their rooms. They stop at Gatto's room first. He is still weeping about his ruined presentation. Cato bonks him on the head, then flexes his muscles and points to Gatto. "You need to toughen up." Gatto still looks ashamed, but manages a feeble smile for his brother. Gatto waves Cato goodbye before entering his room. Cato doesn't react before entering his room as well, slamming the door in his wake. Interior, Cartoon World, Cato's room, Day. Cato paces in his room. He's still steamed, literally, from the royal brothers. He goes to his bed and pulls something out. It's a full chalkboard that he tosses up by the wall. On it is the scheming of a madman. Pictures of Lapin and Mouse make up one side, and the other are ways that Cato has tried to get rid of him. Poison? Crossed out. Arrested? Crossed out. A trap? It's not crossed out yet. Gatto laughs as he flips the chalkboard over and starts sketching out his next plan in a cloud of dust. We will not see what it is until later. As Cato plots, we hold on a dartboard with a picture of the royal family happily smiling. The 4 darts still on the board have made marks at an ear, a torso, a hand, and one so off the mark that it's amazing it's still on the board. Match cut 2, interior, real world, thrift store, day. A dartboard sitting on a thrift store shelf, taken from the view of a smartphone camera. The smartphone pans over the shelf, showing off other recreational games like horseshoes, jump ropes, and even an elephant scent out of the box. What are you doing? The phone camera swings around to Amelia. Tall for her age, but a good contender for a junior modeling championship. She's a good example of a young and inspired influencer. Getting B-roll, clearly. Amelia rolls her eyes. Nobody cares about B-roll on TikTok bells. Just like how store owners don't care that a loud 16-year-old and a friend are doing thrift videos for attention. Amelia sticks her tongue out at Bili, who laughs. Bili, 16, turns the phone camera off for now, allowing us to see her for the first time. She's a whole head smaller than her friend, but that doesn't stop her from being the voice of reason. She absently brushes her bangs aside as she looks to Amelia. Where to next, Miss Influencer? Housewares are a bust. Amelia looks at the shelves. There's a lot of lead on these shelves right now. The girls both zero in on a set of vintage Pyrex dinnerware. They look back at each other before bursting into laughter, then leaving for a better section. Interior, real world. Thrift store, moments later. Bili and Amelia are going through the book section. Amelia is really desperate to find something for her video, so she has bent down and is inspecting each book thoroughly. Bili is less interested, thumbing through without much thought. Bili's thumb rests over a thin book that sticks out considerably from the shelf. She raises an eyebrow before pulling it out. It's an 11-inch by 14-inch sketchbook, bound in leather with gold embossing simply stating sketchbook. The edges are a bit worn down from being removed on and off shelves, but the rest of the cover seems pretty decent. Bili opens the cover. Inside is a mock-up template for a cartoon title card featuring Lapin and Mouse, a la Steamboat Willie's opening. Find anything good? Bili shakes her head, closing the cover. Nah, it's just an old sketchbook, but it's weird. I'm keeping it. Want to pretend you found it for the video? Amelia scrunches her nose and recoils. Sketchbooks aren't going to get views. It's all yours, Bili. Interior, Bili's room, later. Bili is laying on her bed as she looks over the sketchbook more. Her phone is beside her. It buzzes to life, and she glances over to see the message. Mom, via text. I'm going to be late coming home, guys. Someone called out sick 5 minutes before they were supposed to come in. Not long after, Dad, via text. I'm still on for the double shift. I might not be home tonight. Yep, sounds about right. Bili rearranges herself so she can text her parents back. Bili, via text. I'm already home, so it's fine. No takeout? Mom, via text. No takeout. Thanks, Mom. Dad, via text. But I can take you out to breakfast this weekend, my treat, kiddo. Thanks, Dad. Bili sends off her reply to her parents before adjusting to go through the sketchbook again. She can worry about eating later. Beyond the first page we saw earlier are rough character sheets in pairs of 2. The second page of the sketchbook are for Lapin and Mouse themselves. The third page is of Gatto and Cato. The fourth page is of the king and queen, along with an isometric view of their throne room. The fifth page is blank. Bili lets out a thoughtful hum. She flips back to the references for Lapin and Mouse. Then she gets up off her bed, taking her phone with her. She walks up to her full-length mirror and positions her phone to take a selfie. The phone has a full view of both her and the mirror within it. With a photo taken, she makes a few clicks on her phone and it's off to the printer. Printed on a self-adhesive photo paper, Bili snatches it off the printer right as it finishes printing. She goes back to her bed, peels off the back of the paper, and places it on the blank 5th page. With a pen, she scribbles some of her personal details in places similar to the other reference pages. Sybil M. Degrassi. Everyone calls her Bili, though. Human. Wardrobe? Infinite. Bili smiles at her handiwork. Confident, she closes the sketchbook and gets off her bed. It's time to make dinner. As she leaves, her mirror flickers between the real world and the cartoon world. Something has happened. Interior. Bili's room, night. The sun has set since Bili left. She flips on her light as she enters the room again. She's made herself cookies after dinner and is nibbling on one while holding another 2 or 3 in her free hand. As she sits down, the mirror flickers again. She doesn't notice. Words start to show up on the mirror, blinking like neon lights. Help! 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 Bili still doesn't notice. The letters in the word help then proceed to reel themselves backward, then slam right into the mirror, causing a loud bang, much like if someone had slammed their whole body weight against a door. This immediately gets Bili's attention. She jumps, startles, immediately looking to the mirror. The helps start flashing even more desperately now. Bili tilts her head. This is weird. She gets off her bed anyway, still keeping her uneaten cookies in her hand. Now that she's close, the words have stopped blinking. Bili looks over her mirror. She brings her hands up to touch the glass. Apparently, I'm losing my... Bili's hand moves through the glass. The shock of not feeling the solid surface causes Bili to lose her balance, letting out a yell as she falls through like Alice in her looking glass. Exterior, cartoon world, open field, day. An identical copy of Bili's mirror, now hand-drawn, sits in a lone field. Bili falls out, it looks more like a trip, and her cookies go flying in the air from the force. Bili's face distorts into a whine. She looks up realizing her cookies are flying. She stands up to catch some. It's a success. She smiles at herself. Bili, intertitle. That was close. As Bili pauses, she looks up at the audience. Did that just happen? She places her hand on her throat, looking terrified. Bili, intertitle. What happened to my voice? More horror. Bili, intertitle. What's going on here? Instinctively, Bili put her cookies in her pocket, the world of animation already taking its effect on her thought processes. If this was any other genre, it might be the start of a horror movie. She looks around the area. She can't move because of how terrifying and disorienting this new world is. The background and foreground are beautifully drawn and shaded, whereas anything in her immediate vicinity, besides the mirror of course, looks simple and monochrome. It's weirdly beautiful. Bili relaxes a bit as the initial panic slowly fizzes out. Above her head, the word help, in the same font that brought her here. The help stops, as if it's noticing Bili for the first time. It dive bombs at her head. Bili flinches. She rubs the back of her head as she looks to find what hit her. That is when she notices the other helps come on the screen, blink, then disappear before returning again. Bili looks around. Can anyone else see these? Not that it matters, she's the only one around. The helps seem to know this, growing a hand just to beckon her forward, to help her get those first steps in for the adventure ahead. And so she follows. Exterior, cartoon world, sawmill, day. The help leads Bili to a sawmill. She hesitates. The help shoves her in the back. Bili turns around, calms it with her hands. Okay, calm down. Before looking back to the mill, she charges forward and... Interior, cartoon world, sawmill, day. Crashes down the door to the sawmill. The help that was guiding Bili goes back to the one who was shouting to begin with. Mouse. He's trapped on a log heading to the saw while his leg is ensnared in a bear trap. The idea is so ridiculous Bili can't help but stare. This can't be real. Mouse is, understandably, in a panic as the log gets closer to his saw. He glances behind him to see Bili just standing there and gets mad. He shakes his fist at her. Don't just stand there, do something. And potentially shouting profanities before glancing back at the saw. He's closer now, so he panics again. He looks back at Bili. Anger. Back at the saw. Panic. Bili jolts into action. Her first instinct is for the lever next to the saw itself. She takes the lever with both hands, putting all her strength into moving it in the off position. But she underestimates her own strength. The lever breaks clean off. To make matters worse, the log has decided to move even faster toward the saw. Mouse's panicking has gotten worse. He's sweating bullets, praying to the heavens, even closing his eyes for what he's about to go through. Bili is frantically looking around for another solution. She notices a cord connected to the saw's base. Tilting her head, she gives a dumbfounded "huh?" and follows it. The cord leads her to an oversized outlet with an oversized plug for the saw. Bili doesn't think twice. She pulls the plug and the mill immediately comes to a halt. just centimeters away from taking the fur off of Mouse. Mouse hasn't noticed. He is still wailing, "Oh, whoa, woe is me," as Bili comes back over. She tries to help him out of the bear trap next, but his flailing and wailing keeps getting in her way. Bili takes a step aside. She crosses her arms in thought. Then, an idea. She brings out her cookies from earlier and gently brings them over to Mouse. Mouse is still wailing as he gets a whiff of the cookies. He suddenly stops and holds his hands out. Bili complies, and Mouse devours the first cookie without haste. As he starts the second cookie, Bili starts at prying the bear trap open with her hands. She gives it 1, 2, 3 pulls, and Mouse is free just as he finishes his cookie. The mouse springs from the log overjoyed. He takes Bili's hand and shakes it. He gives it a few kisses and looks up into her eyes. Bili is bewildered. Mouse thinks he's fallen in love. He holds a hand out to his chest and sighs. Mouse takes Bili by the hand again, but this time leading her out of the sawmill. Bili doesn't move. Bili, mouthing, "Who are you?" That's when something clicks for Mouse. He holds her hand a bit tighter. He gestures to himself, to her, then crosses his heart. She's safe with him, promise. Bili gives a slow nod. Mouse pulls at her hand again, this time much more gentle, as the two walk off. End Act 1.